Hello and welcome to my channel. If you've been here before, welcome back. My name is Alfonso Peluso, and I'm an associate teaching professor in the College of Architecture at IIT, the home of the legendary Mies van der Rohe, and I'm adjunct faculty at Columbia College in the Interior Architecture program. Shout out to all my students. I hope you're having a great day and I hope this semester is going well. The spring semester is underway. All right, what are we looking at today? Today we're going to look at MidJourney, and we're going to look at it through the lens of film types. All right, so what you're looking at right now is you're looking at an image that I used MidJourney to create of a woman in a crowded lobby in the style of Zaha Hadid, but the film type is using a film type that was used in 2012. It's a Kodak color asset protection. So the image looks like it was taken with a camera that's using this specific film. So it could be a still camera, it could be a movie camera. And where I'm getting these types of films is there's this really great website called filmcolors.org. And you see there's a timeline on the left from before 1880 all the way up to 2012. I don't know if we're going to get different film types after 2012 because now we're using our phones to take video and shoot cameras. But if we look at this, or shoot pictures, I should say, if we look at this, we can click on any one of these dates, and it gives us, the kind of film that was prominent and used often at the time. So this goes, and I can go down, I can go earlier to like the 1970s, and I can see what kind of film was used then, and I can just click on the button. So this is really fascinating that we can input this information into MidJourney, and MidJourney, it looks like, knows what to do with it, and it adds a certain style to the image. It's not just the default output from MidJourney or whatever version of MidJourney that we're working on. It gives it some visual mood, which is, I think, really great. All right, before we jump into the tutorial, if you haven't subscribed to my YouTube channel, what are you waiting for? Search me up on YouTube at my name, Alfonso Peluso, and click on the subscribe button. Click to receive all the notifications so you don't miss out on anything. I'm looking to get to 14,000 subscribers. I think that's going to be a really great milestone, so I look forward to getting there. If you are an architect, architecture student, interior designer, interior design student, there is something for you here. Check out my channel and go ahead and subscribe so you don't miss out on anything. Also, follow me on Instagram at my first name Alfonso _ my last name Peluso. See what I'm up to. I'm creating a lot of AI images and AI movies, and see what work my students are producing. I always like showcasing their work. Help me get to 3,000 followers. That would be great. All right, so let's jump into this. All right, so we're going to start out in MidJourney, and we're going to actually kind of go back, way back in time for a moment. We're going to go back to the earliest that we can get on this little chart. So we have this silver dye bleach. This is 1889. I think it'd be interesting to see what that creates. And there's also some other ones from the 1890s as well that we could take a look at. So just kind of start going back in time. So I'm gonna click on this and then copy and paste it. All right, so we're gonna have that as part of our prompt. All right, we're gonna just start with /imagine, of course. And we're gonna say a woman walking down a crowded street we're going to say in Rome. Since we're going back to 1889, we can say in Rome. And I like to look at Chicago too, because that's my hometown here. So crowded street in Rome, and we'll say smiling at the camera, because that means that she'll be facing the camera. If it's a little trick to get a person to face the camera, just say that they're smiling at the camera. And MidJourney understands that really well. Okay, and then I'm just going to put in that film type that I copied and pasted, and let's see what we get. All right, let's see what we have. All right, so this is very interesting. Um, yeah, I'm not sure how well it's depicting Rome, but I mean, it's definitely, looks like something out of the 1880s, which I think is really fantastic. I think I really like this image in the upper left. So, what I've learned from doing this is sometimes you have to, ask Midjourney to do something more specific to what topic you're looking at or subject you're looking at, and then maybe use these film types. Oh, I don't know. Rita's joining us today. I'm not sure what's going on with Rita today. She's she sees something outside. My dog Rita. Always always nice to have her join us. All right. So let's try this again. I wanted to try it with some like architectural subject other than just a woman walking down the street. So I'm going to try this with I'll copy and paste what we just put in here, but I'm going to change it a little bit. So I'm going to copy and paste this into the prompt. And I'm going to say a woman, let's say inside the Pantheon. Pantheon, let's get it spelled right. In Rome. Woman inside the Pantheon in Rome, smiling at the camera in that same film type, this silver dye bleach from 1889. And let's see what we get here. Now, what I was mentioning is sometimes you have to maybe put in a woman inside the Pantheon or inside the Pantheon, something really simple inside the Pantheon, and see what we get if it represents the Pantheon, and then vary that image, like upscale and vary that image, and then add the film type. So we'll see what we get if we actually get the Pantheon here. All right, this is kind of interesting. We did get some images that I've been to the Pantheon, and these kind of resemble the Pantheon, and we got this little we have some film type here, so this is kind of interesting, and they look like old time photos. So I think that's working well. I don't think we need to explore that any further. Let's jump ahead in time. Let's go to the future. Let's go to 2012. All right, let's go to 2012, and we're gonna that was the image I showed at the when I first introduced the video there in the intro there. So I'm gonna say that the space is by Zaha Hadid, and I'm just gonna start out with a lobby in the style of Zaha Hadid. So a lobby in the style of Zaha Hadid, and we'll just start there with that image and see what Midjourney produces, and we'll go from there. So while that's happening, I'm going to go over to the timeline here and zoom out of this and get a film type from 2012, so the latest one here. Okay, and this is this Kodak color acid protection film. So I'll copy that. All right, let's see what we have here. So yeah, some of these are pretty interesting. I like when you ask it to put people in there. I think that really helps get something like a nicer image. So I don't love any of these, but we can start. Let's maybe go with the bottom right one and see what we can get from that. So we'll upscale that bottom right one. And we're going to add in we're going to vary strong. And we're going to add in our film type. And we're going to say a woman walking through a crowded lobby in the style of Zaha Hadid, smiling at the camera. And then we'll have our film type. So a woman walking through a crowded lobby in the style, got to spell style right here, in the style of Zaha Hadid, smiling at the camera, and then our film type. And let's see what we get with that. All right, let's see what we have. So the visual quality has definitely changed, the visual mood. I like this one in the upper right. I don't know if I like the woman. I could always change that, but I do like the the style of it and the lighting quality of it. And if we just upscale that, let's upscale that one. And if we look at it compared to when we didn't put any style into this image, which was just really boring, just really, you know, plain and simple, not much excitement to it. So if we look at the difference, we get quite a big difference by putting in that film type. So these were both Zaha Hadid with that 2012 film type. All right, let's keep going with it. I think we'll have some fun with it. I think this is a really fun experiment. And we're gonna go now, just gonna keep going back in time from 2012. We're gonna go to 1990. And who do we want to look at in 1990? Let's look at Norman Foster. He was a prominent architect in 1990. So let's see what we get here. So I'm gonna say I'm going to copy, let's see, I'm going to copy from above a lobby in the style of Zaha Hadid. I'm going to say a lobby, I'm going to say a crowded lobby. So we get that, keep that in there. A crowded lobby in the style of Norman Foster. A crowded lobby in the style of Norman Foster. Let's see what we get with that. All right, let's check it out. I don't even know if I don't think I've ever been in a Norman Foster building. So I'm not sure what we should expect from a lobby in the style of Norman Foster. Probably this one in the lower left, like the Hong Kong. I think he did a bank in Hong Kong, and it kind of reminds me of that. But this one kind of has some style, that lower left one. Let's see if we get that style to change with the film type. So let's upscale 1, 2, 3. So this will be a good test. We'll upscale that one. And we'll go to 1990, and we'll just pick one of these film types here. So this is an Eastman color negative. I wonder what that's going to do. Let's try that one out. All right, we'll get that pasted in here. A crowded lobby. All right. Paste that in. So, a woman walking through a crowded lobby in the style of Norman Foster, smiling at the camera. I'm just realizing I didn't very strong. We didn't take that image that we liked above and very strong, but let's see what this gives us, just a straight up prompt. All right, so these look fairly interesting. I don't know, I can't really tell that I'm in a lobby by Norman Foster, and Zaha Hadid's pretty recognizable, her architectural style, and I'm thinking that MidJourney's trained on a lot of Zaha Hadid images because her architecture is so prominent. But it does look like the pictures look, I guess, like out of the 90s, the lower left one especially. But let's just that's great. We see the film types working. I'm just curious with this very strong, which was initially what I set out to do. Let's go ahead and do that. Let's copy and paste this text from below. All right, let's see what we got. Yeah, these are really interesting. I think that these images, I mean, we have the style of Norman Foster for sure, and I think that these images, they're just so intriguing because they have this, this feel to them that you just wouldn't get out of Midjourney. This style, you just wouldn't get this without these film types that we're putting in. So I think that's really great. All right, let's keep going. Let's go back in time now. Let's go back to, let's copy and paste this in first. We're going to take this part of it. Oh, I keep forgetting we're going to start out with just a lobby. So we're going to go, so that was 1990. We're going to go to 1980. And we're going to look at a crowded lobby in the style of Michael Graves. Anyone remember Michael Graves? All right, Michael Graves. I think he became like an industrial designer toward the end of his career and making products that you could buy at Target, which I thought was pretty interesting. So a crowded lobby in the style of Michael Graves. And let's see what we get with that. And let's go over to our timeline history here. And there's a lot to choose from in 1980, and you can really dig deep into these. I'm just by chance clicking on one. I'm just kind of looking through some of these. These are all Eastman, which is interesting. There's a Fuji color one here. Let's try the Fuji color. You could spend forever with these film types, that's for sure. So let's copy that. All right, what do we have here? This is, I don't know. I don't think MidJourney, I don't think it understands Michael Graves. I don't think it's been trained on images by Michael Graves. So that's kind of funny. Um, Maybe the lower right one, like he was very geometric. So maybe these arches, like maybe that's interpreting something of Michael Graves. But these definitely didn't come out like I thought. So let's do a little Google search here. Just let's make sure I got it right. Who I'm thinking about. Well, I didn't spell Michael correctly, so that could be an issue. Oh, you see his work on the right here. So let's go to images. Yeah, this kind of geometry, um, kind of postmodernism type work. So it might not understand who he is, but let's just go for it. So let's go for a crowded lobby. We'll copy and paste this. At least we'll see if we can get something from the 80s at least. So we don't need this part of it. So a woman walking through a crowded lobby in the style, let's get that spelled right, in the style of Michael Graves. Okay, a woman walking through a crowded lobby in the style of Michael Graves, smiling at the camera, and then the film type. Let's see. All right, is it the 80s? Let's see. Let's see. 80s, maybe this one in the upper left best represents the 80s. I don't know about Michael Graves. I think we're missing the Michael Graves part of it, but MidJourney, it's a iterative process, so you have to spend some time. You have to get MidJourney going in the right direction. Let's keep going back in time. So that was the 80s. Let's go to the 70s, and let's look at Robert Venturi. Now his work is also a bit similar um, to Michael Graves in that it's like postmodern. But let's see if MidJourney understands Robert Ventura. All right, so let's get a crowded lobby in the style. Style of Robert Venturi. At the very least, we're at least talking a little bit about architects and what they're producing. So Robert Venturi, while we're waiting there. So Robert Venturi. All right, let's look at some of his images. Might not be so well trained. Like MidJourney might not be so well trained on Robert Venturi's architecture. I don't know how many works he's got out there, and how many lobbies he would have done. But we'll see. Okay. Oh, great. Oh, wow. These are just, you never know what you're gonna get. I mean, you'll get what you ask for, but you don't always get what you want. That's really interesting. All right, so let's let's go for this with our film type. All right, a woman walking through a crowded lobby in the style of, we're gonna say, Robert Venturi, smiling at the camera, and we'll get our film type from the 1970s. Let's see. I mean, I bet there's some really interesting ones in here under the 70s. Just gonna try this. Really, never heard of this one before. Just see what we get. Yeah, and just kind of talking through this a little bit about MidJourney's training and not always getting what you want. So maybe picking like this off-brand camera film type that I've never heard of. Maybe MidJourney has never heard of it either. So maybe picking other film type. If you're going for something for the 70s, you might have to try some of the different ones to see if MidJourney was trained on that particular film type. So that exploration, I think, has to. All right. All right. It's 1970. We got some leather going on and some high heel boots here. It definitely has a quality to it. I wish everybody wasn't dressed in coats though. So I think that would help, not seeing the coats. But I think this upper left definitely has kind of like a 70s quality to it. So that one's pretty interesting. All right, let's keep going back in time here. So we're gonna look at Eero Saarinen. I bet MidJourney understands who Eero Saarinen is. I don't know. I would hope so. Maybe not. We'll find out. So a crowded lobby in the style of Eero Saarinen. It might start looking like Zaha Hadid, right? All right, this is great. I think I said it might start looking like Zaha Hadid, and I was right. In these bottom images, the geometry, of course, his TWA terminal. I think I've been in that before, and these bottom images kind of represent that. And it's interesting that it already kind of put a time, like it looks like it's not of today, because it's Eero Saarinen and his work is from the 60s. So let's see. I don't know if I need to very strong, but we'll try. Maybe this bottom left one is so stylized already. I'm kind of reluctant to do that one. So let's do this lower right one. It's not so stylized. Okay, and we're going to very strong on this one. So we're going to say a woman walking through a crowded lobby in the style of Ariel Saarinen, smiling at the camera. Smiling at the camera, and let's get a film type from the 1960s. Let's just take this one, Kodachrome. All right, a woman walking through a crowded lobby in the style of Ariel Saarinen, smiling at the camera. All right, in the film type. Now, we keep using a lobby, a crowded lobby, and that's probably not always the best for the particular architect that you're choosing because maybe they didn't really do lobbies. Like with Ariel Saarinen, for example, maybe picking an airport would be a better choice. So just some things to keep in mind with the prompting. These look great. These look really good. Wow, super impressed. This one even has some depth of field, which I think is great. Yeah, these are really interesting images. MidJourney's having some trouble with some of the faces and some of these still, even in the latest version of 6.0. But they're really interesting. I think you would just kind of vary the region, which is now available in 6.0, and you can get different faces on the women. Yeah, these are great. Let's keep going. All right, a few more of these. How about 1950 Mies van der Rohe? I don't even think I need to get an image. I know it does I know it knows Mies van der Rohe, and it does it pretty well. So we're just gonna go straight at it. Okay, a woman walking through a crowded lobby in the style of Mies. I don't think I even need to put in his full name, but I will for this one. Okay, Mies van der Rohe smiling at the camera. Let's get a 1950s film type. So 1950. Never heard of these. Let's see. Not that I'm an expert in any of this that I would know. All right, let's go for it. All right, these are very interesting. Very interesting image. I think this lower right one definitely. I mean, it could be 50s or 60s, and that film type was used for quite some time. So these are really interesting. So we're getting some really good results with that. Maybe I had to put in a Mies lobby, yeah, with the if you've been in some of his lobbies with the stone that he uses, are showing up in the bottom ones. All right, so let's keep going. Let's keep going. That was Mies. How about Frank Lloyd Wright? We'll go to the 40s. It's a little early for Frank Lloyd Wright, I think, for his style being developed. But let's start with a very simple. See if we can get a Frank Lloyd Wright lobby. So a crowded lobby in the style of Frank Lloyd Wright. Let's see what we get with that. Let's see. Yeah, maybe this one on the right, with the trees kind of hanging down like falling water esque, like taking falling water and turning it into a lobby. On the left, these like tall spaces. Sometimes it would put like stained glass windows or stained glass colors. Like he does a lot of stained glass colors. So you'd have to, you know, work with this a little bit more. Crowded lobby in the style of Frank Lloyd Wright. You'd have to enter that in a few times until you got something that you liked. Um, let's try it one more time. It's an iterative process. This MidJourney, everybody thinks it's so magical, which it is. I agree, it is magical. But to get something really good, you have to spend your time on it. You have to spend it. You have to be willing to put in the time. That's for sure. Okay, let's see. These are definitely a little bit better. I mean, I've been in the Johnson Wax Factory and in Racine, Wisconsin, and this one on the lower right reminds me a little bit about that. It has that Frank Lloyd Wright feel, and then some of these other ones with the colors. This upper left one definitely, you're definitely seeing the colors of Frank Lloyd Wright. So I'm not sure which one to upscale, which one to go with, and we're going all the way back to 1940. So imagine some of these are going to change dramatically. Let's see if that, just experiment. I'm just curious how much we can vary that top left one that has the color style of Frank Lloyd Wright. So let's go to very strong. And we're going to put in a woman walking through a crowded lobby in the style of Frank Lloyd Wright, smiling at the camera. And then we need a film type. And I said I was going back to the 40s. So 1940, where are you at? It's interesting. These things are color coded. Just seeing this awesome website, like by the film type names, because they highlight all in pink when you go over this one. This Kodachrome. Kodachrome. That sounds great. All right, let's see what we get. All right. So it's a little hard to know, how much the film type is influencing these, but they definitely changed in style for sure. And some people maybe are not dressed like the 40s. Not that I'm an expert, so it might take a few iterations of this. But it's interesting that it's having trouble with their faces with these film types. But I think they're really great. I think they're just great images. They have this look to them that's just different than what we would expect because we're so used to looking through the cameras on our phones. All right, let's end with going just back to where we started, which was 1889, and let's just go for it. We'll go for it with Louis Sullivan. So we're just gonna go for it and see what we get. Woman walking through a crowded lobby in the style of Louis Sullivan. So we're getting all the greats at the very least. We're getting all the greats, which is a lot of fun. So Louis Sullivan, and then we need a film type. Let's go get one. All right, so I don't want to go too far back. Let's try one of these film types that they had back then are kind of interesting. Let's try this one. No idea what this is. All right, definitely something interesting happening here. I'm not sure this type of film, but this is really interesting. I really love these. I think these are great images. All right. I hope you had as much fun as I did. This was truly a lot of fun. If you like this video, let me know. Let the world know. Help the YouTube algorithm to suggest this video to other people by liking it and commenting on why you like it. I would love to hear from you. All right, my head's going to pop up in the upper left. If you haven't subscribed, you can click on that to subscribe. I'm going to put some videos in the upper right and the lower right. All right, thanks for watching, and I'll see you on the next one.